Hello, good day. I'm the Reverend Ronald Nathan, and I'm the minister of the Whole God AME Zion Church, which you can find in Jackson, in St. Michael, on the island of Barbados. Welcome to our meditations, a psalm a day. Today, I'm giving the second installment that comes from Psalms 119, and I'm speaking to the subject, truth and freedom. Psalms 119 is another of those acrostic psalms that uses the Hebrew alphabet as a style and pattern for communicating God's message to the people. If you wish, it is a poetic genre. When I looked at once that psalm a couple months ago, I spoke on the ABC of life. Today I want to pay particular attention to the Hebrew language as spoken, written, and lived. There are 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet, and later vowel points would be introduced. So the verses I'm about to read begins with the sixth letter of the Hebrew alphabet, pronounced Wa. Verses 41 to 48. May your unfailing love come to me, Lord, your salvation according to your promise. Then I can answer anyone who taunts me, for I trust in your word. Never take your word of truth from my mouth, for I have put my hope in your laws. I will always obey your law forever and ever. I will walk about in freedom, for I have sought out your precepts. I will speak of your statutes before kings and will not be put to shame, for I delight in your commands because I love them. I reach out for your commands, which I love, that I may meditate on your decrees. The Hebrew language, spoken as an oral language, derived from the experiences of the Hebrews in Chaldea, Canaan, Egypt, and then their long sojourn in the desert as they enter into the era of Palestine. Their language evolved and later developed into a written or codified form in the Davidic period, some 1,000 years before the birth of Christ. It will later disappear as a spoken language 200 years after the death of Christ, or in the 3rd century AD. However, classical or biblical Hebrew, which should not be confused with the language spoken today in Israel, falls into a linguistic group of language called the Afro-Asiatic family of Semitic languages. Now, I could just stay right here and have a great conversation with you about the Afro-Asiatic family of languages. But I want to move on, because although the root of this family of language, including Hebrew, is North Africa and the Sahel region of Africa, I want us to look at this sixth stanza of Psalm 119 again, for it is inspired. It shows me a relationship between truth and freedom as postulated by the writer. The word of truth in the mouth of the believer brings about a transformation in attitude and behavior towards the issues of life. As she or he meditates on the law, the statutes, the commands, the precepts, and decrees emanating from God, they are able to treat with life's ups and downs with a posture of contentment and containment, not flabbergasted or flustered or fearful. That I read as freedom. In the 45th verse it says, I will walk about in freedom, for I have sought out your precepts. If this walk of life takes me in places of power. I will not be intimidated and I will not be put to shame. It is interesting that in several places in this psalm, that term is used, put to shame or be ashamed. To be put to shame is to disgrace and embarrass, or further described as a painful emotion caused by the belief that one is or is perceived by others to be inferior or unworthy of affection or respect. So what must we do? The writer to this psalm tells us, walk in truth, and you will walk in freedom, for it releases you from fear of being ashamed. It releases you from fear of the internal hold on the creativity of the mind, soul, and body. It releases us from the external fears that are represented in loss of face, place, and power. This state spoken of by the psalmist will be epitomized by Jesus the Christ, of whom it is written, who the Son of Man sets free, they are free indeed. Or, in another place, that the truth shall set you free. For we know that Jesus Christ said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. In this, the longest psalm written in the book of Psalms, the writer, using every letter of the human alphabet, the Hebrew alphabet, encourages us to take serious and have consistent study of God's word. If we do such, if we meditate on God's word, it will give us a different outlook on life and the traversing of life's conditions. It will give us a level of freedom that cannot come from any individual person. Let us progress from the spoken word to the written word, and then on to the lived word. Walk in truth and proceed in freedom. May God bless you. If today's meditation has been a blessing to you, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Pass our link on to your family and friends. And of course, give us a thumbs up. May God bless you richly.